Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing the foreign tax stamp pimps, as I call them, or as I should say, the American colonialists at the time called them back in the American colonies before the Revolution. The point of this video, I should say the point of the thumbnail, first off, let's go there. You see that's Val Kilmer playing Doc Holliday in the famous film Tombstone. I'll go ahead and put a clip so for the citation, for the link and the photo credit, but I'll put a link below so you can see that. But basically, you know, this is the scene where Wyatt Earp has sort of lost it. The so-called cowboys have gone after his family. They've basically tried to destroy his livelihood. They've done all kinds of things to old Wyatt, and he's kind of sick of it. And after a major imbroglio, like gunfight, whatever, in the film, there's this scene where his friends, he's off in a, you know, down by the creek, quote, walking on water, to paraphrase Val Kilmer in that scene. But he's off, and the friends are talking to Doc Holliday, and they're all sitting there thinking, you know, they're saying, oh, if they had hurt my brothers, I'd want revenge too, and all of this. And Doc Holliday says, no, make no mistake, it's not revenge he's after, it's a reckoning. I kept thinking of that line when I thought of making this video, because that is what I am interested in. I'm not interested in a bunch of revenge. I'm here in Thailand. I'm gonna, you know, continue to do what I do for as long as I continue to do it. That's not the purpose here. I do want a reckoning though. And why? Because fake foreign, it's not just this stamp pimp thing too. It's the entirety of these fake foreign professionals and people coming over here and operating completely outside. It's just beyond the pale, frankly. It's completely outside the realm of reason. Okay, and I mean by fake foreign lawyers, I mean, as I've discussed in other videos, old Brian Wright goes back years here. He used to be a fraud lawyer. Turned out he was some kind of serious predator offender. I don't know where exactly he is, but interesting to know. As I've discussed in other videos, Dennis Ram, so-called head of Siam Legal, you know, total fraud, doesn't have any qualification for legal services or anything. And the problem is these people do things that are completely outside their bailiwick. They don't have a bailiwick because they have no credentials or qualifications. But point I'm trying to make is they cause problems. They damage people. Now, in the case of this reckoning, as it specifically pertains to this stamp pimp issue, what I'm looking for in terms of a reckoning is clarification, one, regarding this OECD thing. Because this clearly is a part of this push that was occurring under Yellen, where she funded up 90,000 IRS agents, which God knows where we're ever going to find the evidence regarding that money because of the USAID debacle, and then we're finding out all this stuff from Doge that nobody even knows. There's no tracking on any of the checks. Nobody knows where the money goes. But again, we know from news reports that I've discussed on this video, again, there was a push toward OECD. Here in Thailand, the prior prime minister kept talking about the global minimum tax. That was a big push by Yellen. And again, she hired a bunch of IRS agents ostensibly for that purpose, to push this, it looks like. And there are others that are also pushing this OECD as well. Now, I got to thinking about this after actually reading a recent comment on a prior video, quoting directly, what does quote-unquote sovereignty have to do with it? Thailand wants to be a full member of the OECD and has been a stage 2 member since June last year. Thailand's not being coerced against its will in some way by the OECD. Well, coercion isn't the key. They could be being deceived into it too. That's my concern. Nobody knows what this stuff is. It's like the World Economic Forum. It sounds very innocuous, and then you look into it and it's like, no, this is awful. You know, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. You know, it sounds like you're coming over to third world countries and building wells or something. No, you're trying to create a supranational banking system to create an international tax system so people outside of Thailand can dictate how tax policy will work inside of Thailand. That's what's going on. Quoting further, as seems to be suggested here, I'm not being suggesting, okay? I think Thailand's been kind of nudged, pushed. If anything, there may have been some bullying behind the scenes in the last administration on this stuff. You know, but on top of it, I definitely think she could be being deceived about all of this. That said, quoting further, if you join, you agree to abide by their rules. Well, they haven't joined yet. We've discussed this in other videos. Thailand hasn't joined OECD yet. They're looking into it. Quoting further, and that obviously means surrendering some element of autonomy, independence, and sovereignty. I hate people that use obviously that way. Why does that obviously mean anything? There's a bilateral treaty of amity between Thailand and the United States that didn't require any abrogation of sovereignty on either side. You know, I can see the push by these type of people, call them operatives, call them whatever you want, where they try to create this false momentum. Well, it's already happened. They've signed on. No, they haven't. You know, oh, well, if you want to do this, you have to give up sovereignty. No, you don't. We have plenty of treaties that don't require abrogation of sovereignty in order to exist. Quoting further, if you don't want to abide by their rules or to surrender any sovereignty, you don't join. It's that simple. Well, okay. You know, yeah, except the problem is it's not that simple. Okay, it's a very complex, highly organized and orchestrated plan thought up by some of the richest, most powerful people on earth, and it is designed to deceive and take advantage of Thailand, clearly. Now, I had a response to that I actually put up, quoting directly, until very recently I was not aware of what OECD was. I only began looking into it when it came up tangentially in conversation with an acquaintance in the financial media world. I now view this organization very suspiciously. I do not believe it has Thailand's interests in any way, quote unquote, at heart. And in fact, I think these supranationalists, quote unquote, globalists, view Thailand as a kind of fatted pig their economies can now feed upon as they are depleted. And I do agree with that. I find it really interesting that for years, Thailand could never join any of these clubs. We were developing, we weren't ready, oh, we're not good enough, never good enough, not high enough caliber. And now when Thailand's doing pretty well and the rest of the world is basically in skid row financially, now Thailand's going to be allowed to join into this where they get to come in and raid all the money of our citizenry through this supranational offset and indirect and all kinds of territorial, extraterritorial sovereignty impinging and infringing measures. Quoting further, in short, it is a neo-colonialist organization with designs to, in part, paraphrasing President Trump, to capture our nation's sovereignty via administrative coup, utilizing supranationalist mechanisms and propaganda. As for the notion of Thailand being at stage 2 or any other stage for that matter, Thai people will not be dictated to in Thailand by outside quote-unquote organizations, whatever that means, without due process of law. Yeah, oh, well, you're in stage 2, you're in this stage, you're in the... Stop framing us, okay? We don't need to be dictated to you. We haven't passed any laws that require us to do anything. We're not interested in dancing to your tune like some kind of marionette puppet, okay? We've thought about OECD. I don't know what the ultimate decision is going to be, but from what I'm seeing of it, I think it looks terrible. I think it looks terrible for Thailand. I think there's been an intentional covert push to get Thailand into this thing, even though it's against her interests and does infringe upon her sovereignty. Quoting further, no law has been promulgated regarding OECD to the best of my knowledge. The parties have agreed to continue exploring it more deeply. That said, this is another aspect of the deception. Color of law nonsense. Yeah, this kind of thing. Oh, you're at stage whatever. Well, that's not a legal thing. Quoting further, this is similar to COVID in that regard, but the point is, this stage nonsense is just a technique of manipulation to convince people this whole attempt is somehow legitimate. It is not. Thailand's sovereignty will not be undermined. I couldn't agree with that more because I wrote it. You know, at the end of the day, this is a sovereignty issue. I don't know the exact answer to it, but it does definitely look to me like, especially when the President of the United States says so in an executive order, that this thing captures sovereignty and causes extraterritorial problems or issues within the tax regime, that Thailand should at least be seriously looking at it. I'm hoping authorities, either in the tax bureaucracy or more, I think appropriately perhaps, judges within the court system come to some kind of final determination regarding the legality of this, because I view this as a serious threat to Thailand. That's why I've made such a big deal with regard to the whole term stamp-pimp. which I continue to believe is the most accurate description under the circumstances for some of these folks. And again, barring some sort of further clarification from the Thai courts, I don't understand where we stand other than to continue believing that this appears to me to be on its face illegal pursuant to Thai law.